Hello, my name is Natasha from the blog and YouTube channel Mountain Valley Refuge. Today we're going to be talking all about growing bell peppers. We love eating bell peppers here at our house, and of course it was a big goal of mine to be able to grow bell peppers in our garden. And it's not that hard to grow, so if you're wondering if it's hard to grow peppers, no it isn't. There's just some tips and tricks to it. And I'm hoping to share those with you in this video so that you can also grow your own peppers at home. Now the first thing you may wonder is, when is the best month to start your peppers? As you may already know, bell peppers are notoriously slow growers, and so you may be thinking, what's the best month to start your bell peppers? Well, usually the practice is between 6 to 8 weeks before your last frost date, so that'll be dependent on where you live and kind of what your climate is. Although we start ours much earlier. We already started ours just recently, and that is because they take a long time to germinate, but also I'm leaving some room for my plants to get used to being inside versus outside. So I factor in about 2 weeks in there to carry them in and out and get them used to the outdoor temperature. So a little more extra things to think about. We don't have a greenhouse that we're starting our green peppers in, so I'm factoring in a little bit more time so that I can get these plants ready to be outside and get them used to the climate out there. So peppers do need a lot of time to sort of start indoors if you have a short growing season. Now, if you're growing in a place where it's very warm and you have long summers and it's very hot, you may get away with a little bit less. So 6 to 8 weeks is the standard that is recommended. And you can test that out 1 year and see, well, do you want a little bit more? Do you want a little bit less? I feel like I've adjusted for our zone by planting even earlier. And again, because I'm getting ready for the outdoors, I've added in a couple of more weeks. So that may change, but a 6 to 8 week is a good place to start. Now we're gardening in zone 8, not that that really matters, depending on where you are, and factors in your environment will significantly impact what your growing conditions and climate will be like in any case. But if you want to know, we are growing in zone 8, and I plant mine about 10 to 12 weeks in advance of our frost date. Now if you're wondering how long it takes to grow bell peppers, it can take a couple of months. If you are in a place where it is very hot, again, long summers, very humid, that may happen a bit quicker. We are in the Pacific Northwest, so we do have hot summers, but they're not super hot and they do not last all that long. And for us, it takes about 4 to 5 months to get a pepper harvest. Last year we had a very long spring, and so the warmth was delayed even longer, and it took about 5 months for us to see any peppers on our plants. Now that may be different for hot peppers. I feel like they just grow a little quicker and more abundantly than bell peppers do, but our bell peppers were definitely a little bit later. So 4 to 5 months for us, although the recommended amount of days is about 90 days, I believe. If you have perfect temperatures from the date of your germination all the way through, you could have peppers in 90 days. Although I would up that number a little bit just because I feel like they do take a little longer. Now, are they easy to grow? In my opinion, yes. Once you have started your seedlings, they're growing well and you can handle the pests that come with that. You may have some aphids on your little seedlings as they grow. And then you get them ready for the outdoors. So you're carrying them in and out, getting them used to the harsh light and the cooler temperatures out there than in your house. And then you plant them in the ground and they grow pretty much by themselves. So for me, peppers are easy to grow, yes. Just like all plants, they do most of the growing by themselves. So that makes it a little bit easier. Although they are susceptible to some pests. Now for us, the pests happen indoors. We had aphids on our seedlings indoors, but we didn't really have much pests outside. Although there is a worm that eats the leaves, right? And there's some ways that you can get around that, and I'm going to share that with you in this video. There are certain things that you can plant around your peppers that will kind of deter these pests away from eating your pepper plants. Now, they weren't eating our peppers, but they were just chewing on the leaves, which I guess would affect the plant's growth, so it's still attacking it. Anyway, more on that in a moment. But yeah, they're pretty easy to grow in my opinion. You can stake them when they're outside because they do kind of get top heavy, so it's good to have just some kind of support for their stalks. But overall very easy. It just takes a little bit of time and I think totally worthwhile to grow. Now, so far as things that you can plant around your pepper plants to sort of keep those pests at bay, especially those leaf miners. That's what they're called, those bugs that are eating our leaves. Leaf miners. And you want to attract, I think it's called, parasitic wasp to come and attack that leaf miner bug. Is it a worm? I think so. So to attract those parasitic wasps, you want to plant things like flowers. So any kind of flower like zinnias or cosmos, but also apparently the flowers that come from plants like carrots have this cone, well, sort of umbrella-like shape. That helps to also attract these parasitic wasps that will eat this bug. So that is good, and that gets into companion planting, and that gets into the benefits of actually planting flowers with vegetables, which if you've been following along with this channel, we do just that. Our garden, while we strive to keep it organized and high production, it's hard to maintain a very organized kind of production because we are mixing with vegetables and flowers, because we're trying to create this kind of environment where, well, our crops do well, but they're healthy because the plants around them have attracted pollinators and kept pests at bay. And so, yes, there will be a host of flowers and some of these other herbs around our pepper plants this year, and hopefully that'll make a really big difference to these worms and any other kind of pests that want to attack them. Now, of course, the ladybug is also renowned for aphids. It eats thousands of aphids in its lifetime, so anything that you can plant that can attract ladybugs is definitely worthwhile doing. And I have a video where I talk to you all about our garden map for the year and specific companion planting ideas which went into making that garden plan, and if you're interested in that, I will list it down below for you to go look at, or link it here for you to go watch. But definitely something you want to keep in mind when you are planning out your garden is how to sort of arrange things so that you can benefit from companion plants. Just like we have friends, plants have friends that not only give it nutrients in this companion planting situation, but also can, yeah, deter pests from ruining your crops. So totally worth it. Now, how many bell peppers does one plant produce? We get about 15, maybe 10 to 15 pepper plants, bell peppers per plant. I know that's not very high production, and I don't know if that's because the plants just are not high producing, or if we're late on it, we have a short season, I'm not really sure. And I guess I'll see for sure now this year, starting a bit earlier and having plants that are a bit bigger to transplant. But overall, I feel like the bell pepper plants just don't carry that much. But you know, it must depend on variety, because there are some varieties that we've grown that I feel like I remember the plants seeing a bit more than that even. So it probably depends on your area, how well the plant is growing, and what variety you're growing. So if you're looking for a lot of peppers though, I would recommend that you plant multiples of a plant or multiple varieties, so at least you have a selection of ones to choose from. But yeah, not all of that abundant, and if you are a big family and you want to eat lots of peppers, I would plant lots of plants. Now, the hot peppers do much, much better than that. We've seen 30 to 50 kind of hot peppers on one plant, so they, I feel like, are just heavy producers, but bell peppers not so much. So I started our bell pepper plants just recently, and I'm going to walk you through how I started them indoors, how I water them, and what varieties we're going to grow this year. Okay, and now onto the peppers, which I have all of these prepared. They're bigger, what are they called? Bigger pots to start them in, because, well, peppers grow very slow, so I'm starting them very early, and they will spend a lot of time in this pot, probably until the very end, unless I start seeing roots coming out of the bottom. So I prepared this now with soil. I have watered it to make sure that it is ready to receive a little seed. Now, we have lots of pepper varieties, and we've grown many in the past, but this year we're only going to grow ones that I know do very well, and then I've ordered some specifically for certain kinds. So I'll quickly walk you through that. One that's done very well for us each year is this Cubanelle. This is a great sweet pepper, which is surprising because it's green, which makes you think that it would be spicy, but it's not. It's such a sweet, delicious pepper. They grow so well and big for us, and heaps. So we're definitely gonna have a bunch of those. I'm also this year trying the lipstick, which is a sweet pepper. I haven't had many success just growing plain old sweet peppers that are other colors than green, so I want to give this one a try. It's a bit smaller, so hopefully we get a plant that is just covered in little red peppers like this that are sweet, that we can eat fresh. We love eating fresh peppers. I'm also going to give the orange bell pepper another try. I'm hoping that because we're growing less this year, I can give more attention to these plants here, and that we will have a better harvest that way. In the past, we've just grown too many, and they've just not done well, and I don't know if it's just because I didn't start enough to get them a good chance. We also don't have a very long season, so the longer they can get ready in here, the better. So yeah, anyway, I'm gonna give this orange bell pepper a try only because we like fresh sweet peppers that are not just all green. So here's a red kind, here's an orange kind, and now we have a red and a green and an orange. And then I'm growing two spicy peppers as well, or I should say hot peppers. We're growing this tam jalapeno. This is a new one this year. We used to grow this nata pino variety, which did all right for us last year, but not fabulous. So actually I'm a bit torn between these two. The reason I'm interested in the tam jalapeno is because, well, it is hot, but it's not crazy hot. We don't do that many hot foods. It's just dependent on the person, and we don't really do that. So the nata pino is just a bit spicy, so maybe we can try the tam and see if that's better this year. I may grow both just to do a test. Not sure. And then lastly, I'm going to grow this paprika variety. This is, of course, hot and spicy, and maybe this year we will try some of it and make our own spices. I think it's worthwhile practicing things like that, although it would be laborsome, and it's much easier to just go buy paprika in the store. It's not like it's hard to come by, but it would be great to know how to do this, and then also take something that we are growing in the garden and process it in our own way. So that is what that is. So if I'm starting many seeds in a tray, I may just use this tape and tape the side and mark them up that way. But if I'm doing individual trays like this year I've just gone ahead and bought these little label makers from Amazon. Every year I say it's fine, I'm gonna try other methods, and honestly it's been all right. But this year I just know by the time we get to carrying plants in and out and actually planting plants, usually my labels have been watered many times, they have been torn, or whatever the case. They're just difficult to read, and I think it would be very handy to just have one little simple tag like this where we can just stick it in and yeah, we know what it is. So no struggling mistakes this year. These weren't even that expensive. I think they were, what, 10 bucks? And then make sure that you're getting a permanent marker that is also meant for outdoors, because, well, if you are going to transfer this little tag right into the garden afterwards, you want a tag that is going to last the season. And I would like to figure out which varieties do good. Now, we should be able to obviously be able to distinguish which pepper is which pepper based on its color and its shape, but there are other things that just aren't that easy to distinguish, especially if you're learning, like I've been learning kinds of flowers and what they all look like, and they're just not that easy to name and know. And so I think if you're also trying to learn the names of your plants and get to know them better, this is a handy way, because you can transfer this little tag right to outside when you're finished. I'm using this special tool that my husband has, I don't even know what he uses it for, just to shove the seeds a little bit below the soil and kind of cover it up. The last thing I'll say is when the insects do come, or the bugs, I don't know, yeah, aphids primarily for peppers, I will just continue to monitor and check the bottom of their leaves kind of every day or every other day. And if you catch that early enough, you can save your plants for sure. I remember last year when I saw the aphids coming up at the bottom of the leaves, I would bring them every morning to the sink here and I would just wash them off. Take my finger, pinch them off, kind of like flatten them, and just continue doing that with all the leaves until all the aphids were off. And and we nipped it in the bud very early and then they never came back. So maybe there's an initial period where they brew out, and if you can catch that before it gets out of hand, you will be all right. So we'll monitor this. Let's put it in the seedling cabinet and let It's So Long start making us seedlings. Thank you for watching. Now, because it is very early on, I can actually prop this up so that the soil is closer to the lights. That may just help with germination. It doesn't have to be that far away. And then when things get a bit bigger, I can just move it down by taking this out and moving it farther away from the lights. Well, thank you for hanging out with me while I plant our pepper plants and talk to you a little bit about how to grow pepper plants, what are its pests, how long it takes, when to start them, and things like that. And if you found this video helpful, would you please consider liking this video and subscribing to this channel if you're interested in content like this. We're really excited for the garden season up ahead, and we would love it if you would follow along with our channel and support us, and we can all grow together. If you have any pepper tips that I did not mention here, any other information that maybe I have left out, please leave it for us in the comments below. I'm always learning, and I'm sure the audience here would also really benefit from your insight if you have any, so we really appreciate it. Well, we'll catch you in the next video.